Okay.
Hello and welcome back to Women Who Write and Radhaa Publishing House. I'm Radhaa here today with Miss Selma and Gila, and we were just having a conversation, a raw, real conversation about everything coming up during these challenging times, and I wanted to drop in with all of you here. Welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Radha. Yeah, these are very important times. And, you know, loss of words for all the devastation that's happening. And sorry to start that way, but that's what's present this moment. So I'm Selma Harwell, and we've come together to, um, first of all, support women in trauma, support women of all, in trauma of all kinds, and addressing it through a writing expression. And that was the original creation. And right now, we're including the grief that is happening at this time with the war in that Gila is actually a part of right now. I mean, she's in it. And Radha has just gone through the horrors that have been happening in Asheville. She thankfully lives above the town, but the town is gone. Both, those are both very extreme grief places. And it shows the rest of us the grief is not only real, it's in our lives as well, it's in our face, and it reminds us of our own grief. So I want to start the way that we plan to start the classes anyway, is with meditation. That's my part here. Um, and then Gila will have a chance to say so much as well. Thank you for being here, everyone. And let's begin a calming. I'm just going to go with what comes. So let's close our eyes as we lengthen our backs and ground and put our feet on the ground, on the floor, connecting ourselves to ourselves and our hearts through breath to begin with. So let's do a big release breath. Inhale deeply, and just you can be loud for both of these. And exhale fully. Couple more. This is needed. So inhale. One more. And now just be with the breath, witnessing it as it returns to normal breathing. Sensing that that is already a calmer place than when we began. Our whole system gets to be replenished with the breath. We know we can't do without it. But what we can do is begin to be intentional about the breathing. So let's right now practice a breath that's a little longer and turning into our hearts. So the inhale together and exhaling into our hearts. And inhale into our hearts. And exhale into the heart. On the next inhale, into the heart. And this next exhale goes through the heart, and it's longer, and then it takes us down in through the spine. On down and down. You can return to normal breathing at any time, but we're continuing our little journey down the spine, through the legs, through the feet, into Mother Earth. Return to normal breathing for sure. Connecting to Mother Earth and assisting her. She holds us all the time. We get to send our grief downward. We get to send the disasters downward. And the earth can take it as a stabilization. We're not causing anything but release within ourselves and calming of the earth that needs it so badly. Calming of the waters of the earth. Feel that immersion into those depths, especially the waters. And let's do our part by cooling the waters. As we cool the waters, we're cooling ourselves, calming ourselves further. And let's be there for just a bit. Let the grief be absorbed through the oxygen of the water, through the miracles that especially salt water brings, a cleansing and detoxing and healing. The touch of all the elements rolled into it. The plant life, the critters of all kinds. And we had our creation moment coming from those waters. That soothing place is what we're contributing now to our souls, to the soul of the earth that Mother brings. The water is life-giving. That's its purpose. And as we're immersed there, we come back to the earth, the ground that absorbs the water and replenishes the rest of life. And from that deep grounding, our spirits get cleansed enough, released enough to be filled and expanding our light within us. And that light within us expands effortlessly, light-filled, to where we're uplifted. Upward we go, beyond the elements, to the stars, for even more light. Renewing the shining light within us. There we meet among the stars. which we also came from. Completely renewed, completely contributing the light needed all over the planet from where we are, joining the stars, in turning around and seeing the planet filled with the lightest light, the healthiest light, the healing lights that cool from being so far. Let's use our breath to blow it all around the globe, cooling down what's needed for the calmness to prevail. And let's be there together in silence for just a minute or so. During that minute, let it seep within every cell, the loving light of you and to the others in your life. And there's more. We are shining beyond ourselves. We are shining from the light of God that is perfection, reminding us of our perfection, of the light that we are from where we came. And here we are. So let us be. Carry that light with you for another moment. And notice the difference in your systems. As you shine fully. We're affected by the cosmos light, and now we are the cosmos, being the effect. Thank you for joining, and I'll bring you back with your consciousness of your breath. The normal breathing continues. Come back to yourself and maybe blink your eyes if needed.
Thank you, Selma.
You're welcome.
I felt a deepening in the breath and a softening within. This is all very helpful in both times, like these. And also, it's also very helpful in times of poetry writing, because either way, we need to come back into ourselves and soften into ourselves, because, so often in the world with all of these conflicts in different ways, there becomes a hardening within us and outside of us. and that breath and that conscious looking, feeling within, softening, it really drops us right in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Selma. That was really helpful. Really helped to also relax, and being in a place where there's so much stress, and I always have to be like kind of aware. It's nice to just feel safe. And I think safety is really always available to us. But sometimes it's hard to access. And I even find it in my own meditations. I've been needing to do it more often and breathing more often, just to get back into that place of peace and center inside myself. Because I feel like that is really, and you helped us to do that too right now. That helps us to like not panic
Mm.
and to just quiet down and remember there is always a direction.
Mm.
And if we can follow, listen to our heart, listen to our breath, we'll make the choice that's right for us.
Yes. And it also helps that we're here in community and that whoever hears the meditation and all that is actually being shared here can listen again and again. So, including you both. Because you're in places of, I want to say, extreme need, even though it's not about being needy. It's about actually times of need of
Mm.
each other, of community. And it can be, really, I haven't said this, but like, thank God for Zoom, because that's such a great connection for us, for everyone. And communities are happening more and
Yes.
more that way, in other ways. But I prefer it to emails, yes. Now that your post office is gone, we'll be emailing more. Yeah.
Well, oh my,
Beautiful to hear you laugh. Good.
yeah, it's it is sweet to laugh after these tears, and I don't doubt that there will be more, like it feels that challenges are here right now on Earth for everyone around the world.
Yeah.
It's not, of course, I mean, Gila is in the war zone. She is in Israel. I can't imagine more of a challenge than that. And yet we're here. Gila's here. And we were
Yes.
having this conversation earlier, and that's why we thought we just, record, because we were asking, like, is this the right time? Is this the right time to do this? Because we're facing some pretty big challenges in our lives right now, in just everyday life, but we were like, should we move this? Because it's a big deal to hold space for people and in this way. And we were going back and forth, and we really saw that this is this is a guiding light, and that even coming together in this way, it brings a foundation into our life where the foundations may be, crumbling, or
Yeah.
with the river flowing away, there are changes ahead. There's no doubt about that. But this is a sacred time together. And even when we get on our calls just to talk about the program, there is this, it's like a sacred sanctuary, a place of rest, a place of rejuvenation and replenishment in our hearts and our minds and our bodies that are tired of worrying about what's going on. And I was saying how, times like this even amplifies that longing even more because, respectively, I'll speak for myself, like going through this stuff and not having arms to hold me through these times it's hard. But it's not hard. It's activating this longing, right? I don't like to use the word hard. That's never the right word, but it's this longing, and it feels so appropriate to do the Radiant Sutras, it feels so appropriate to tap in to our desire for connection, for love, longing, missing those pieces or dreaming about those pieces. That's the vulnerable part, that these moments make us feel so vulnerable.
Yes.
Yeah. So well said. And I do want to say, it also, at least for me, like you see how people really care, and even our communities are coming together and they're trying to, like, where were you when this happened? It's just, there's, your heart opens and like all of the walls just kind of fall, because even I've been sharing with my friends, I'm so glad, and to each of you as well, I'm so glad we are connected. I love you both. It really, it really makes sense, when Eckhart Tolle says the present is now, because you realize, you don't know what that next month is going to be. I mean,
That's all we got.
it's not going to be the end, but still, it just reminds you, like seeing something that's happening so horrific, you're like, whoa, I have life. How can I celebrate life?
Yeah.
How can I live the
Oh,
fullest of this moment in the quiet that I have at this time?
yeah. That just
Um,
gave me chills. Mm.
yeah, and at the same part, when you see the destruction, honestly, like that is a part of life, right? As
Yeah.
as sad as that may be, and as hard as it is for me to say that,
Yeah.
uh, within each of us, there is a light and there is a dark.
Yeah.
And part of this course is also opening up to the places that we close up, that
Mhm.
we don't want to expose. But in exposing that, we actually let the crack open to a wider door of our wholeness. Um,
Yes.
so I feel like none of us should be experiencing this, but since we are, we're going to new depths within ourselves to
Mhm.
really uncover all of those pieces and to, explore the depths of our being and the resilience, and the community that we're creating at this time.
Yeah, and the created community that we know is experiencing exactly what we're talking about. And even though most people can relate, only I want to say few, only because there's a vast amount of people out there, but the ones that are drawn to this are ready for that exploration, and they're willing to go into those places that show themselves to us. So, and it doesn't have to eliminate people that are starting out, because the recognition of a darkness within yourself not to be scary, but to just know there's something I'm not seeing. I'm willing to see it. And I love the way that you said it, Gila, because you said it's, it's a crack. And out of that crack, there gets to be a release. And we just talked about releasing the grief. And when that happens, because you will it, you're in a safe container, that the container itself is the holding of the space for that release. And it also comes in words at times. And you might hear the words, you might just know the words and write them down. However it comes, it's a connection to your heart. And that's why we start with the heart.
Yeah. It's beautiful. What is it? Rumi says the wound is where the light enters.
Mm,
I love that, because
that's so awesome. Yeah.
yeah, there's so much opportunity here. And, I think as we feel the depths of our being and also being faced with, in many ways, mortality, or, our life, right?
Yeah.
There becomes this kind of feeling of, like Gila said, like this absolute gratitude and wow, I'm still standing and I'm
Yes.
here alongside with the grief that others have fallen and the others are not here. And so it's almost like the heightened intensity of our emotions that should not be brushed away and rather explored, because underneath both emotions there's a well, a well of emotions that we can tap into. And I find that is where our richness lies, and especially with poetry. Like, I just don't want to write a poem when I'm really feeling super happy and just everything is perfect. I'm like, oh, I just want to go outside and play. And, I don't, but when we're feeling these depths, it's almost like more colors are available to us as poets, more colors, and we can create more and probably our best work. And that's not the goal, but that is just something that is there.
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting that you pointed to that about, I really have been writing poetry, and all my poems are spiritual poetry. And I didn't know that at the time I started. It's a recognition of the upliftment that it can also be present. However, it doesn't, or it hasn't shown up in that expression of delight that I can think of. It does come through whatever, and it's like when we're feeling the delight, we're busy feeling the delight,
Right.
and maybe we can go and we've got other things to do, I guess. But then there's the thoughtfulness and the provocative depth that happens when the feelings are different, and even just a pondering of something gets into a depth that we don't normally. So, and then it just comes when we allow it. I don't know, maybe I am gonna, I know what I was gonna say too, that the upliftment comes through grace. So I've written about grace, and there's a celebration to it, but it hasn't included delight yet, and maybe it will. Yeah.
Yes, I
Hoping.
think
Yeah.
so. I think so. I mean, it is interesting though, right? I mean, you become an amazing poet whenever you're going through something, and then
Mhm.
when you're out of it, you're like, what poetry? How do I write it again? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
For
No, but
sure.
I just wanted to really also like really honor Gila and talk about how, we were talking about like the logistics earlier. Like, listen, a siren might go off, you
Mhm.
were
Right.
telling me, Gila, and so we're like, okay, we're on standby. We're here, as a team, and we are all tuned in, and we see the beauty and the light that's available through this for everyone joining, and even for ourselves. Um, and that in a sense, like we are standing as pillars of light, even in the storms that may come our way. And I'm very grateful for the courage of these women, because it takes courage to continue on in the face of such adversity, especially with where Gila is and what is actually happening all around her all the time. It can
Mhm.
be so challenging to say yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Actually, we had a siren.
Oh,
I was
wow.
muted because I was screaming to my children to come. We're
Ah,
sitting
well,
in the safe room right now.
ah,
It was quite scary.
Mm.
wow.
But we should be glad we have a safe room, and
Mhm.
my dog is sitting here quietly and I'm here with my daughter, and
Wow.
yeah, it's definitely something that is scary. I don't know what to
Yeah.
say.
Right.
It's
Sure.
hard for the words to come out.
Yeah.
That is something that I've been having a challenge with lately, is like the words, because I can't, I don't feel at this moment of offering anything like
Yeah.
beautiful, it's just not right there. It's just not right there, but that's okay. And I
Mhm.
want to say this not just because I need to say it, I'm saying it to all of you listeners. We go through times where it's okay to not have all the words, and it's okay to kind of
Yes.
feel, to feel
Yeah.
deeper.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally agree. It's it just becomes difficult, and I was actually thinking, sorry, I'm going up the stairs if you hear some background noise, but it's weird, it's like we have these sirens and we hear all these sounds, and then, whatever, half an hour later, or even people are driving sometimes, they don't know when this is going to happen. And so you have to
Ah,
stay calm, and you have to, think clearly. What do I do next? We're told we have directions, but still. And even hours later, people are traveling around like nothing happened, but
God.
but it seems that way, right? From an outsider's perspective, it
Yeah.
seems like nothing is going on, but
Mm.
we're actually just dealing with it in our own way. But it's every, there's a certain kind of tension that's
Mhm.
still around, because we need to know where all the safe areas are, and we look while we're around.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just I think about wars and like, how did people act? What was going on? It gives a whole different perspective, from what we learn in history or even watching movies. It's just
Yeah.
it's just like, even the hurricane and what happened, like I can't imagine that. I can't imagine living through a natural disaster. So that's, everyone through their perspective and what they went through. And that's actually a richness that we're going to share in the group, because everyone's gone through different things, and
Mhm.
how that's affected them, and what kind of emotions they had, and how they were dealing with it, and how it comes out in our relationships. Why do we react that way? Or why are we, why can't we open up so easily? It really does affect the way we are with our partners and with our loved ones.
Yeah, big time. Big time. And that's why
Beautifully
it's,
said.
yeah, so beautiful, Gila. I really resonate with that. I mean, when you said why it's so hard to open up with people, because when you go through all of these challenges, you are still loving, but maybe you've created a little dam around your heart, a little wall, a big wall. Maybe you still have swords in your heart, and so in some ways we are going to be deconstructing through the process and kind of reverse engineering and kind of going into those places that are the most tender, because that is where our desire stems, as we said, hey, I've had too many swords in my heart. I'm not going to desire anymore. I mean, maybe if it's even so subconscious.
Yes. The protection of self. It seems like maybe, anyway, I was going to say it seems like she just got cut off, but we'll include her. Yeah, what came up for me was like, it takes those other types of beauty of surrender and trust. And for me, that ends up being a surrender to the self and God, and and then that allows for the trust, the trust of self and the trust of God. And then there's a place to come from. So the surrender is beautiful, the trust is beautiful. Those things can be explored and have new words for. And even in sensual poetry, that happens. The surrender is part of what happens even in your expression of a sensual experience. And not that you must write about your experience fully, but there's that part of what you are sensing in the moment. So it gets into those little places that are beautiful and are enlightening. So I guess the delight comes up there too. Yeah, the delight is allowed for as well. We're going to be exploring it all. Yeah.
I'm excited because in this space, it's okay. Whatever comes up, delight may come, grief may come, even anger at betrayal may come.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's all okay. And we need places where we're safe. We're safe to be where we are. We don't have to wear a mask, and we don't have to be something other than we are. And I find that to be the most loving. That is, to me, that's the most loving thing we could be, is allowing someone to be where they are. It's the most generous thing we could do.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And just loving them for who they are and loving each other for where we are as well. I feel like part of sensuality and relationships are also about how we care for ourselves.
Yes.
Yes.
And how we love ourselves and how we respect ourselves, because sometimes we just can't communicate, right? The words just can't come out. All right, I can't deal with you right now. That's also a part of, openly loving yourself, but creates more space to love another.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Exploring words such that you have more words for better creation, better relationship, better communication for a relationship. Yeah. Finding the new things that you haven't said that you didn't know were there to be said because you've been exploring together here with us.
Right. And allowing it to go deep, when we said about the depth, it's the depth within, as we go deeper within ourselves. And I know many of those who are listening have gone there, are going there, or want to go there. And as we get, then we can allow the iterations of our relationship to evolve, because the newness fades away quickly. And then all the challenges, start to flare up, and it's so easy to run. But, what if we stay? What if, like you just said, Radha, we just love the person we're with or ourselves when we're in, or our friends, right? In those times of unraveling.
Yeah. Then it's a healing moment. It's a transformational moment. It's an
Right.
enlightened moment. I love to talk about enlightened moments. So we get
And
those
it's a moment of
glimmers.
growth, growth
Mhm.
for our relationship and growth for each of the individuals in that.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
It
thank you,
starts with
ladies. This
this.
has been so wonderful to share with you guys today.
It's been
Good.
beautiful. I really appreciate you both coming on and the courage it takes to move forward in the face of adversity and to also commit to holding space for others. And I really can't express how sacred this space is and how much love is here and how much the ability for beautiful inorganic shifts, just like we've shifted throughout this entire conversation, at least me. We started off with tears and
Yeah.
it became something else. And so this is how we get through these times, and this is how we actually evolve ourselves. We don't just sit feeling sad for ourselves, but we say, hey, we're going to continue creating, rain or shine or whatever, in the ways that we can. This is how we can show up. And even if there are challenges, we are going to explain to all of our participants that, hey, Gila is in a war zone, and there may be moments where sirens are going off, but we are here. We have Selma and Radha, and we continue on and we hold space until she comes back. And it's, this is a beautiful, beautiful moment in time. And there's just so much opportunity, so much opportunity. It's very hard to actually explain in words, because it is something that when you come into these spaces and you're fully embraced and accepted and invited to go deeper and enchanted with what we are going to be sharing and guiding you through, that it becomes such a priceless moment, and you're so glad afterwards that you did show up for yourself. And so I do invite you to continue to join us, men and women, or wherever you are in the world. We are here and we welcome you with open arms. We start the 26th, is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Saturday.
And
Correct.
what
The 25th.
are the times?
I believe it's 11:30 Eastern. So it'll be 6:30 p.m. Israel time and 8:30
Yes.
California time.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Pacific time. Yes.
Yep.
8:30 for Pacific.
Every 2 weeks until February 1st.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Would either of you like to end with a poem? I could read one, or you could read one.
Why don't you start? I'll look for one.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Love sounds the music of the spheres. The world is God's pure mirror clear to eyes when free from clouds within. And that is the poem.
Ah.
I could read it again. The world is God's pure mirror clear to eyes when free from clouds within.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes. Love that. I have mine pulled up.
Yes.
Yeah, why don't you read them?
This one is called Torn. Dream the dream of lovers. Meditated thoughts of clarity. Sang the mantra of self. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. My strength my weakness, front of the hand, back of the hand. Sex is so enticing. I really want to play. So this is Tantra sex, smelling him from 20 feet away. Animal instinct, like holding back a racehorse at the opening of the gate. Friendship is evident, imminent, persistent, and precious. More precious than sex, though not so delicious. Have I learned not to gorge on food? Mostly. How about gorging on sex? Comparing apples and oranges now. I do prefer apples. Love apples for gorging. Something is missing. Tenderness, passion, craving them both. Will they provide satisfaction? It will never be enough. Loving, simply loving, the love of friendship, at least brings contentment, peace at times.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
That was so lovely,
welcome.
Selma. Absolutely. I love the apples. So much vivid imagery in your poetry. I could see, feel, you know, and that's the magic. You can really, it's very experiential.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
first poem I ever wrote.
No way.
It is.
Oh,
That's also the beauty of it, that when it's time for it to come, it just comes. I
Mm.
was asked because I was going through and felt torn, and my friend said, Selma, I want you to write a poem. She didn't tell me to call it that, but that's what came. As soon as I said, okay. I didn't even know that I could, but there it came. So yeah.
Stunning, 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 stunning. And I think that's the thing about poetry. It just awakens in you one day and it just activates. And then sometimes we just need a little bit of love and kind of a little bit of space to be held and magic happens.
Yeah. Well, I want to say too, I realized later that I had memorized probably every Beatles song there was, and those are poems. So somewhere I was getting trained and didn't know that. And I offer that because so many of us listen to music and probably have more within us than we think. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great to say because it's true. A lot of the beautiful songs that we listen to are poems, not all of them, but a lot of them.
Yeah,
And some of our poetry can become a song,
it's true.
believe it or not.
Yes, of course.
So I will share one. I was
Yeah.
looking for one specifically, but I can't find it, so I'll
Mm.
read this one. It's entitled Black. Take me into the darkness, a world full of magical trees, a forest I seldom linger. Feelings I yearn for, like the branches swaying in the strong winds. Depths that are limitless, like the earth beneath our feet. Allowing myself to ache and love the fear of the unknown. It is this part of me that is beckoning to leap to the precipice of my life, to the heights of my existence, for it is there my brightest light will radiate. Take me there with you.
That's an uplifting
Oh.
spiritual poem. That was so great. Very visual as well. Oh
Mm.
my gosh.
Thank you.
And speaking to the expansion that we're talking about, the
Yeah, I
limitlessness
thought
of who
it
we
was
are
really
as
cool.
beings.
Mhm.
Absolutely. That was awesome. Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow, that was so uplifting. If yeah, see, look at all the emotion it evokes. Like it feels very hopeful.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, some of what we were talking about yearning and longing
Hmm.
and unknown, right? Many of us are walking into something that's completely new. So
Yeah.
Does feel like that. I feel very much we're going through the corridors of the unknown, and it's very uncomfortable, and you can it's like every feeling is amplified, but then I do know there is a great light at the end of that tunnel, and we have to continue moving forward. And it's easy to stop and say, I can't see. I don't know where this is leading. I have to stop. But it's like we have to get through the tunnel. The surprise is on the other side, but I feel it. I can feel it in my heart, and I know it's going to be beautiful, but it's not easy, and we don't know how long the tunnel goes, but we will continue on, and that's the decision that we made today together, as a group.
Yeah. And we're faced with, we never really know. That is what the now brings.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in this moment of now, we never really know what's next. And so sometimes we say it's going to be hard. Sometimes we say whatever we say about it. And sometimes we do know, because I'm looking at that part too, where we have intuition. Sometimes we get a sense of what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
And then other times we just stand for what we want to come.
Mm.
So cool. Thank you for all this.
I really
It's,
enjoy reading your poetry. I mean, listening to it. It's like I am reading it when I'm listening to it, because I feel like I see it, To me, poetry is actually visual.
mhm.
I get a lot of visual when I listen to it, and it feels, I feel like when you hear the poet speak it, there's so much magic behind that. It becomes even more alive, and that's such a gift to
Mm,
share and speak poetry. And that's one thing I am extraordinarily excited about, is hearing the poems that are going to be birthed in this program, because so many poems are going to be birthed, and
mhm.
so many expressions, and I really enjoy just absorbing it.
Yeah.
It's just so healing. There's something quite healing about it. So thank you, sisters. I
Yeah.
really appreciate you. I will read one poem, because I read Rumi's poem, so I'll read one.
Oh, I was wondering, I was going to say the thing about it being so short left me wanting more. And I was going to say, how did you do that? Oh, okay.
That was Rumi's poem, but I'm gonna read one I wrote. It's called Prayer and Pillar of Light. In the midst of my journey, a ghost appears, a spirit trapped in time, consumed by fears. It whispers to me, pleading for release, a prayer and a pillar of light, its only peace. So I close my eyes and offer up a prayer, a plea for guidance, for love, for care. May the light of the divine surround this soul. May it find its way home, and again, be whole. And then I offer up a pillar of light, a beacon of hope, a symbol of might. May it guide this lost soul to its rightful place. May it heal its wounds and reveal its grace. For we are all but travelers on this earthly plane. And sometimes we get lost, consumed by pain. But with this prayer and a pillar of light, we can be free to find our way home to the heart of the Creator, where we are meant to be. And I'm sorry, I don't know why it's bringing tears, but I haven't read that really for a long time, and I was just thinking about, the people here that lost
Yes.
their lives. So
Of course.
Yeah. So that just, you know, the emotions come and that's okay. We
Mhm.
we move. I mean, sometimes the poetry moves us and we don't even know. I hadn't seen that poem in like forever. I hadn't thought about it. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
beauty, is that we get to feel and it's okay. And we get to release and we get to share. So thank you for yeah, listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for the moving poem. Thank you.
Yes, exactly. And when you were moved, we were moved. So that's how beautiful it is to allow that. It's so perfect.
Thank you so much, ladies, for joining, and thank you all for listening. That was a journey for us, and we hope that you had a beautiful journey too, and that you'll be inspired to join us, because we are doing this for our communities around the world, and we do stand as pillars of light, so we can all find our way back into our hearts, into ourselves, and with our voice and with our gifts of writing. It's such a beautiful gift to have. So thank you all again for joining. Until next time, much love.